5-day European vacation. Going to Iceland, Amsterdam, well, Holland in general, Belgium, France, Switzerland, and a touch of Germany. And it was a really good reminder of like why I love real estate, why I'm grateful for real estate, and why I want to keep doing it and make it grow, because it's already allowed me to achieve things and do things that I never really thought that I would be able to do at a level that I would be able to do it. But it also made me want to make a video about like, why did I even get into real estate? Because I think a lot of people, probably some of y'all out there watching this, you just happen to end up in real estate, right? Or you're thinking about real estate, but there's no real logical path for why you ended up there. You just like think it's a good idea or something. So this video is like, why did I get into real estate in the first place? How's it going, y'all? My name is Jesse Lynch. I run multiple real estate teams around the United States, and on this channel and in general, if I'm being honest, I'm really only interested in working with people who want to do things a little bit different, people who want to hustle, and people who don't want to do things the old way. So if that's you, come hang out for a while, subscribe to this channel, click the bell to get notified so you can see when these videos are coming out. And if it's not you, if you're looking for a very traditional real estate route, then this channel just is not the right channel for you. So you can probably just keep it moving, find somebody else, because that's not what we're doing here. If you're interested in working with me in any capacity, go to my website, jesselynch.co. There's a bunch of information on there about like how things could look potentially for you, for us. But otherwise, I'm honestly just excited. We have an absolutely beautiful fall day here in the Twin Cities. We realized yesterday that we didn't have anything on the calendar, so we thought, let's make it epic. Before I got licensed in real estate, before this was even really a consideration, I was building sets, like commercial sets for photo shoots and video shoots for a Fortune 100 company based out of Minnesota. There's only so many, so maybe you could figure it out. I was also a freelance photographer and videographer, which was definitely a good supplement to my income. And then I was a musician, which I made no money at all. It just cost you money, to be honest, but I did learn a lot of things along the way. I had flipped a couple houses in probably 2013 and 2015. I flipped one house each time. I lived in it, and basically in that time, I was learning on the job how to do these different household things, how to renovate a home, basically. And it was an incredible education, and also made me decent little chunks of money. At the time, it felt really cool. Now looking back, it wasn't life-changing money, right? It was nice, and it was a really cool thing to learn, but didn't really change anything on the grand scale of my life. In late 2019, I decided that I wanted to try really hard to find a duplex, something that I could potentially live in and turn the other unit into an Airbnb. It was a plan that I worked really hard to figure out, but the only place I could afford anything in Minnesota was in Rochester, Minnesota, which is somewhere around 75 minutes south of the Twin Cities proper. So I bought it down there, and I would drive down there and sort of spend weekends, spend elongated weeks and things like that working on that. And I renovated that upper level unit, and that was the first property that I really owned on my own. I gotta say, just close enough to where you could do that, and just far enough away to where it was annoying. And a lot of this shift into real estate directly corresponded with buying that duplex down in Rochester. It wasn't necessarily the best financial move I ever made. It worked out actually pretty well, but it was the momentum of buying that duplex was weirdly powerful when I look back on it in retrospect, which is that basically it fueled kind of the next steps, right? So at the end of 2019, I bought this duplex. I was getting very, very fed up with the commercial photo and video industry. That whole space was just very, very frustrating and kind of vapid and soulless. And so at the end of 2019, literally New Year's Day on 2020, I was making New Year's resolutions. And I don't even remember what most of that list looked like, but the one thing that I remember above everything was the very last item I put on it was to get a real estate license. Because I was noticing sort of the power, I was noticing the passion that I had for real estate and how exciting I found the potential opportunities. And I really thought I would get the real estate license and it would just fuel my investment, right? I thought I'll get a real estate license and it'll allow me to find or to, I don't know, figure out a way to become more of like a full-time real estate investor. And so January 1st was really the first time where I said, I would like to become a real estate agent. And within a week, I was in my first class. It just so happened to correspond, and maybe the school does that on purpose, but it just so happened that week 1 of the class was a week into the new year. And so I took the class, I took a week, and then I had to go back to work, did that whole freelance commercial photography thing for another month or 2, and then I finished up my classes basically at the very beginning of March 2020. Then, boom, I was a real estate agent. But if you just hear that sort of pathway as far as somebody getting into real estate, that's how a lot of people, probably most people, kind of end up in real estate, right? It's sort of like I don't like what I'm doing, what else could I do? And then they end up getting a license. But most people, 95% of people who get into real estate fail. And actually just kind of glossed over January to early March. And I actually think that those months were some of the most important months in my journey. For one, I got more and more disenfranchised from the photo and video world because I could kind of see that there was this other option, right? It's like once you have this other option, you start to kind of hate the thing you're in. It's I don't know, it's a weird thing, but I think it happens to most people. But then I was also like devouring podcasts and YouTube videos from the perspective of real estate agents. There was specifically one podcast that comes to mind that I listened to, I don't know, probably 100 episodes of in the course of a couple months. It's called Real Estate Rockstars Podcast. I still think it's a really, really great resource. So if you're new and you're looking for something to listen to, I would definitely give that a go. But I have very vivid memories of driving in my car, listening to a podcast where a guy who is pretty new into real estate, didn't seem particularly special as far as I was concerned. He made $400,000 in a year. I think it was in his second or third year in real estate. He made $400,000 in a year. And that truly like changed something in my brain and made me realize that something different was possible, that I had really limited what I thought of as being what the opportunity of real estate was, right? In my earliest days, I thought if I can make $100,000 a year in real estate, that will be truly life-changing and I'll be so thrilled to have gotten into it. But that one podcast, hearing a guy who made $400,000, instantly changed my perspective to go, oh, $400,000 is possible and maybe special. You know, maybe it is something that's unusual, but doesn't seem like it would take superhero level abilities to achieve. And I could barely even imagine what my life would be like if I was able to do something like that. And so hearing that made me realize that there would, rather than just using my license to sort of like supplement or allow me to be an investor better, I realized, well, there's no better opportunity that I have in front of me to make as much money as possible. If my goal is to invest in real estate, then I'm gonna need money. And how do I get money? Well, real estate seems to me like it's the best opportunity that could exist at the time. And so I really just doubled down. I said, well, if in my head right now, my way out of this lifestyle that I had that I wasn't thrilled about, if the way out is investing, well then real estate is the best vehicle to make more money to invest. Since then, I've realized how insane the opportunity of real estate is, and the investment thing has sort of become a side hustle, right? A thing that I'm just kind of doing in the background because I enjoy it and I find it interesting, but I believe personally that owning a business can be a better opportunity than owning a piece of real estate or whatever. But did I still think that I would actually be able to achieve those things? And then have I been able to? And then if you fast forward 4.5 years from when I got my license, my life is almost unrecognizable, and certainly my financial position is just a completely different situation. I said at the beginning of this video, I just did a 25-day European vacation. I had done European vacations before, but they were tough to pull off. Everything was financially tight. One little mistake, one little hiccup was a big deal. To be able to go there and just enjoy myself and not sweat, you know, what little things cost here and there is so crazy to me when I look back on what things were like at the end of 2019. I don't plan on saying how much money I make on these videos, but there are certain things that are undeniable, just in terms of accomplishing things that I weren't even really on my radar when I got my license. I have 4 remote employees who live in the Philippines whom are really, really valuable to me. And I just appreciate them, and they do so much for me. And I try to, in return, you know, help provide them a really great quality of life. I have 1 full-time employee, Paul, who you've seen in these videos, who's my absolute homie and has been for a long time, and I get to just hang out with him like most days, right? That's a gift, and it's super sick. We got to do this trip because of real estate, right? This is just like a little day trip that we did on a whim. It's so fun to be able to do stuff like this as part of the job, but also, you know, it's fun. It's just a cool way to spend a couple days. And I actually have 7 agents on my team, 9 total people in my downline or whatever at Real Broker. And to be able to help those people who are on my team, help the people who've joined Real, sort of create this life for them. And honestly, like, if there's anybody watching these videos, which there's some people watching it, but if there's people watching these videos who just need like the little bit of the push, just need to know that these things are possible, that like it is possible to make $500,000 a year in real estate. What? Right? What? Where else is that possible? And yeah, and it's not just about money, it's about lifestyle. It's about being able to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them, but obviously that's going to require doing a lot of work to be able to be in that position. And again, 4.5 years ago to now, it's crazy to think about just how different things look. The stuff that I was worried about back then, I just am not worried about those things. I have new worries for sure. There's new things to be worried about, but these little day-to-day things that were, you know, more devastating back then just aren't even on the radar anymore. And it's because of real estate. It's because of taking that leap to try to do something difficult and then just giving it everything. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.